What's up, everyone, and welcome to the Wide Awake podcast. My name is Joshua Rubin, and I'm your host. Today, my guest is Jack Parow.
Are you ready?
Lekker tye.
Jack is a South African rapper, actor, and record producer with deep Afrikaans roots. And over the years, Jack has formed a unique style and sound and is one of South Africa's most well-known artists.
Dankie. What a great intro. I feel cool already.
Welcome to the studio.
Lekker. Nice to be here.
So, where does the name Jack Parow come from?
Well, it actually just came from, I was like drunk one night out and we like, because when you start making rap music, you kind of like, the aliases was one of my favorite parts of it because you could like become someone else. So I had all these different names and then over the years, like really bad ones like Bong Scare, like instead of Bomb Scare, classic, like smoke too much weed But then one night we were out drinking and we got home and I was like, Pirates of the Caribbean was on television and I was like, who's Jack Sparrow, the Pirate of the Caribbean? I'm Jack Parow, the Pirate of the Caravan Park. So then it became like a kind of a joke and then it became my name because obviously I was born in Parow, come from the northern suburbs, Durbanville, those areas. And and that whole kind of Afrikaans caravan park styles, that's the kind of vibe that I've always kind of pushed from the start, yeah.
Did you live in a caravan park?
I have not. I've had many holidays in a caravan park, but I never actually lived in a caravan park for a extended amount of time.
So you have lived in a caravan park, just briefly.
Yeah, just briefly.
Do you feel like you're a caravanner at heart?
I think since I've grown up and made my own money that I don't have to live in a caravan park, I've realized I'm not a caravan park person. I'll much rather rent a place than stay in a tent or something like that. I kind of like, even, I grew up kind of a lot of like, in the time when there was still a lot of festivals and like and stuff was happening a lot outside of town. So I spent a lot of time trying to set up a tent drunk in the middle of the night at like some random festival at Neckies or someplace. And then so I've kind of had my share of tents. So I'm now more of a housebound kind of guy.
Yeah, I find tents are never supposed to survive a festival.
Yeah.
And if it survives the festival, you haven't done the festival right.
Exactly. I always like, was Opikopi, which unfortunately doesn't exist anymore, but that was always like one of my favorite South African festivals. And it was like super hectic. It was like, we always say it's like the kamp staldraad of like flipping festivals. If you can survive Opikopi, you can survive any festival because it was just dust and flipping chaos. Like, really bad.
Like what kind of chaos?
Just like, the camping space was called Mordor because it just looked like, it was just, it was just in the middle of it's northern, so it's like up there in like the bushveld and it's like just, lang doringbome and flipping dust and there's no grass and there's just like no, like this, the first day, the showers and the toilets or everything is just fucked, it's like that kind of, it's just like, it's crazy. You can't take photos because there's so much dust that it fucking like it does. The flash obviously catches the dust at night.
And you just see little particles everywhere.
It just looks like you're in a snowstorm. So it was just that kind of thing. And it was just super hot in the day and cold at night, and it was just, but it was fucking amazing. It sounds like chaos, but it was the best chaos ever. And I became good friends with the organizers, and I would always stay a little bit longer, and a day or so, and then just to miss the traffic, because it was also like this small town, super small town, and there was like 25,000 people at this festival all leaving at the same time. So I always like stayed a day extra to kind of miss all that chaos. And then you would go through the campsite because first of all you would pick up the craziest shit. Like you would basically be able to start a small narcotics fucking factory or a shop of everything that's just thrown everywhere. And then getting to a space where and people just left all the tents, everything. You get to like a campsite, it would be the cooler box, the fucking tent is still up, everything's still there, and that's just people that just are like, I actually get goosebumps, just like, I cannot fucking be here anymore. I have to leave now, and just get in their car, leave everything and just fuck off out of there because they like it's just too chaos. They've like just cannot handle it anymore. And I don't know why we started this conversation, but yeah, it's kind of funny to me that that kind of like fucking like you saying like a tent is only for one
night.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to go out a lot when I was younger. I used to go to festivals. I think my first festival I was 15 years old.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I never knew how to pace myself. I would always hit it way too hard.
Yeah.
And then by the time the festival's over, I'm the kind of person that, I'd pack the tent up because I didn't want to leave it there.
Yeah.
But it would be completely demolished. I mean, I've been back to my tent. You find the weirdest things in your tent if you don't lock it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you find
people,
things that don't belong to you. The one time I went to my tent and there was a guy sleeping in the tent.
Oh, yeah.
And I tried to convince him that it was my tent, but he just did not want to believe me. So we ended up in a little altercation and he got thrown out the tent. And then while he was on the floor, he was so drunk, but he leg tripped me. Like he swiped me. Have you ever swiped someone's legs before? He swiped my legs and I fell into the mud.
That's a great move when you're drunk. Leg swipe.
But I mean, what were you like as a kid? Were you quite a hectic kid?
I mean, I don't think hectic. I was like, when I grew up, where I grew up as well, it was like a different type of scene and a time. So we would just like booze a lot. I don't think it was as much. Now it's like quite, like for lack of a word, chemically the scene. Then it was just like going to bars, trying to get into bars, trying to get drunk. That was like the fucking thing. Smoke weed, drink. Only two things. Later on, mushrooms. Like I started, I'm one of those, in Afrikaans we say, vroeg ryp, vroeg vrot. So I started quite early in my life so I stopped a lot of stuff quite early in my life as well because I started too early. For example, weed. I smoked weed my entire, first time I smoked weed, I was about 13. And started boozing as well at that time and smoking cigarettes and just like, obviously my high school career went from like law school. I was like, kind of.
You're doing okay.
Yeah, I was doing okay. And then just high school, I was just like fucking balls to the wall. So yeah, flipping. But I mean, I was lucky. Those are my three things. Like, I still like a good dope. And I like, I don't smoke weed really anymore, but because I just gone more over to psychedelics, like mushrooms. Because I just feel it's like a kind of a nice space. Stopped smoking cigarettes. That I'm very proud of. Fucking took a while, but I've been off that for a while. So I mean, I kind of, that's my kind of vibe. I started quite early, fucking got it all done, and got into it. So I wasn't like necessarily naughty, but I wasn't suit either. And my parents were quite, I think that's what's also, they would allow me to make my own decisions, which I'm super thankful for. Is they would never tell me you can't do this, or you can't do this, you don't do this, because that usually makes you want to fucking do it more. So my mom was like, just be careful in everything you do. And she would create the space, the house parties were always at my house because it was more of like, rather do it under my roof than go and do it somewhere in a fucking parkie or some shit like that. So I think being able to experiment with those things in like a kind of a safe space and my mom doesn't drink, she doesn't smoke, she's like doesn't do anything. She's like the most like straight edge when it comes to that type of stuff. But just her allowing me the space to figure out my way was really cool. So I think that kind of helped me that I didn't turn into a complete fuck up.
Yeah. I mean, my parents did the same thing in terms of giving me space. They would always say, don't do it. Like, if I wanted to get a tattoo, they would say, don't do it.
Yeah.
But if I did it, they would be supportive. They didn't care. Because I also used a lot of drugs when I was younger.
Yeah.
And they never liked it. Obviously, no one likes their kids using drugs. But I find from what I've learned, if you try to force people to do something like you say, they're going to, to not do something, they're going to want to do it.
No, 100%.
So if you give them that space to like experiment and, have some fun.
Yeah.
Generally, I think people will come back around.
No, exactly.
And go, I had my fun. And it's probably better to do it early on as well, because you don't want to be in your 50s going, I think I'm going to start something now.
Exactly.
Let's pick up shrooms for the first time, or let's pick up cocaine for the first time.
I mean, shrooms you can pick up anytime for the first time, but fucking the hardest stuff is obviously difficult. It can take over your life. And I think it's because people, it's also like there is obviously, I do get it, like people, like they say, it's a certain gene. You either have it or you don't. Like I don't have that addictive gene, which I'm super happy about because, being in the line of work I am, it's fucking easy.
It's there all the time.
It's super easy to get addicted to anything. So I think I just feel like lucky. I don't want to downplay like addiction or anything like that. So because I have a lot of friends who struggle with it. But I just think I got dealt the lucky card that I don't have that addictive personality. Like I've addicted to weird things, like I'm a fucking hoarder, or I'm like addicted to video games and shit like that. But at least stuff that doesn't like. But I always also know like when to pull
back,
where to draw the line. Yeah, when it comes, I'm addicted to braaiing and fucking things like that.
I think I saw that you said online that you have 4 braai spots at your house.
I do. I actually have 5 now. Like it sounds like my house is massive, but I just really have I've just really laid out my house so there's different spaces to entertain in. So I've got like the nicest one. I've got a super nice bar at my house, like a fucking nice bar, which I'm really proud of. Because I bought my house like 12 years ago. And it's in a real, like up in the mountain in Cape Town. It's super nice. I'm really happy with it. And
Amazing.
I've just stopped. Like the first thing I did was build a bar. So I was like, fucking, I needed like entertainment area because that's my vibe. I like, I think the problem with being also like famous or whatever, like it's like becomes kind of more and more, for lack of a word, like intense to go out. Like, you can't spend time like with friends, like personal time and chatting, because there's a lot of times people wanting to also get into those conversations or come talk to me or take a photo, which I don't mind at all. I'm like not moaning about anything. I'm super happy that people still listen to my shit and recognize me, but it's lucky to have a space at my house where I can have like friends over, braai, have a good time, So that's my house is kind of set up to entertain. I've even like my house, I've got like an outside bathroom, so I can fucking go to sleep and lock up my house, and my friends can keep partying outside if I need to if I want to go to sleep. So yeah, it's been set up to kind of be that kind of vibe. And in lockdown, it fucking worked great. We had the biggest parties there, and the worst was at that time in lockdown when you had to like it was, I think it was like 9 o'clock. Like 9 o'clock was like curfew.
Yeah, the curfew.
Yeah, and so 8 o'clock the bars closed, and then everyone's like, come for a last drink at my house, and then fucking they stay too long, and then I'm stuck with like 30 people till fucking like 6 the next morning because they can't fucking drive, and then the police come, and then I'm like, bro, this is your fucking fault. I wanted them to go home like ages ago.
According to the rules, they're not allowed to leave.
They can't fucking leave. It was a fucking disaster. And then so then I ended up. That's why I set up my house so I can go and sleep, and people can party on and leave at like fucking 6 in the morning. The cops actually just eventually stopped coming. They were like, "There's nothing I can do about this shit anymore. They've given up."
Yeah, I mean, when they started locking. Because there was a point where you're allowed to go to events and stuff, but they would lock the doors at the events, so you couldn't leave until curfew the next morning.
Yeah.
And or when curfew ended. Yeah. I mean, that was just ridiculous.
No.
I remember my friends going out, because I don't really go out too much, but my friends are going out and they were like, we're literally stuck here.
Yeah.
They could not leave.
No, it was a fuck up. Like, I had some crazy parties. Like in lockdown, I had some crazy things. I also played in like weird places where people just say, because they were getting so bored. So they were just like, cool, fucking come to like this farm in like the Karoo for like 3 days and come jaw and play a show fucking and jaw. And then I'd be like with these fucking people I've never met, locked on this fucking farm for 3 days. And it was the best times. Like I did that a few different places, and it was such a cool. I actually had a stage, I was like, I try to do my online, because I was just thinking of funny ways to fucking kind of fuck with everything. So I wanted to do so I can marry people, like my to become like a minister,
you want to become like
ordained minister, so I can marry people. Because at this stage you could do like small gatherings for like weddings and funerals and shit. So I was like, cool. I'm gonna become a minister. I come and marry you, and we have a fucking party, and that's how. So people, and then I thought, okay, cool. So people can come. Then churches opened up. So I was like, I'm gonna start like the church of fucking, and that's how I think kind of my new album kind of started also, because my new album's called Die Evangelie van Goeie Tye, or the Gospel of Good Times. So I was like, I'm gonna start this this vibe where I'm like I start my own church and people just come, and my sermons are me rapping. So fucking why can't, who says that it can't be? And then I could have small gatherings for like these church ceremonies for my personal cult that I started.
Did you actually do it?
No, but then I
never married anyone.
As I started going through the whole process. I kind of just lockdown kind of opened up, and it was just I just like got busy with some other stuff. But
it'd still be funny though.
Yeah, I know. I think I should still do it because it's not that difficult. You can actually just go on a website and you get ordained as a minister. But then I started doing this whole more thing of doing like this whole culty kind of church vibe thing, which I was into already before that, kind of playing with that idea of that whole thing. And then I got to this. So then in lockdown, I really just went also at the end of lockdown, because as a musician, I was in I literally was flying back from Bahrain, where I played a show, and I was touring constantly to go. So and then lockdown happened. So I mean, I was going from playing shows, 2-3 shows a week, to fucking no shows. And at the start it was I can rest. I was the best time. I loved it. And it was I could actually sleep and shit and fucking just kind of and I really felt a cool thing that also happened was through that rest, I could really feel myself being much more creative, because you forget how much creativity really relies on rest. I was in a space before lockdown where I actually wanted to stop making music. I was like, I can't go on like this. I'm gonna fucking burn. But yeah, I'm gonna fucking have a meltdown. So it was. I think a lot of the world didn't know how much rest they needed. So I think there was you always have to look at the positive things that come out of things like this. And it was because someone also came to me and said dude, one of my friend's grandfather said, you must fucking enjoy this, because this will never happen in your life again. You will never be able to rest for 2 years and just have a fucking a good just have that a Joel or whatever. Or, and I know it was hectic for a lot of people, but I'm just saying that you have to look at the silver linings.
Yeah.
So I was in a really weird space, mentally at the end now, when it was getting, because everything was opening up, but we were the last to. Every time the last to open up,
musicians hit hard.
Yeah. So the last to open and the first to get closed down. So it was just fucking. We were really to the end, just really hectic. I mean, a lot of my friends stopped making music. I think when we started after lockdown, you really saw when we started doing shows again how little musicians were fucking left. There were so many people just gave up. So
moved on to something else.
Yeah, and they were like, "Fuck this shit. They can't. They can't make music." Became fucking sold property or for whatever the fuck it is. They just gave up on music. And but so I was in a really bad space, kind of mentally, just I also went through some personal stuff and breakups and fucking all this type of shit. And then I kind of decided to go to this because I really believe a lot in psilocybin and the whole treatment of PTSD or depression and stuff through natural drugs, whether it's especially mushrooms and ayahuasca and San Pedro, these kind of psychedelic drug treatment. And so I went to this really amazing retreat in Knysna Forest on my birthday, actually, on the 2021, on the 22nd of February. I went to this retreat gave it to myself for my birthday. In the Knysna Forest, fucking the best thing I've ever done, the coolest thing.
What was that like? What do they do on those retreats?
It's really cool. This one's really amazing. It's called Awaken the Journey. And it's the nice thing about this one is it's a personalized one. It's just you, and you've got the best psychologists and psychiatrists, just people look after you, and you have sessions and it's just you. You know, there's a lot of people that do these like journeys where you can go with like fucking 20 people, 30 people, but I don't, that's like my worst nightmare. Like I cannot think about fucking losing my mind and dealing with my demons between 30 people I don't know. Like it's like, that is like literally a nightmare for me on its own. So it's really cool that it was that it's a space where it's 6 days, it's just you, and these people just looking after you. It's beautiful. It's these like, you live in these beautiful bungalows in the forest. It's like, and it's like by this river and you go, it's incredible. It's like really an incredible experience.
Sounds amazing.
It is. And you know, I've done a lot of mushrooms in my life. I've run a lot of journeys without even really knowing I'm doing them. But to have it done in a way where it's like, where there's someone that really looks after you and gets,
and guides you through it.
Guides you through it. And also, you know, the nice thing about this, working with a psychiatrist or someone who's been trained to deal with mental issues or with whatever is going on in your mind, at the end, which I never really thought about, you know, I've done it so many times, but it's like a dream. So you at the end, you see all this crazy shit, but then at the end, you kind of forget. What you've seen in a bit, like a dream, you know. But it's really important to talk about it as soon as you see as it's done. So you'll go through this journey in this beautiful glass, like it's glass all the way around with this fireplace in the middle, and it's like, yeah. When I also like gives me goosebumps just talking about it every time. Still, like 2 years later, like it's really amazing. And then you go through this thing and you see these things. You know, I saw my dad that died like. When I was like 22, 23.
He passed away.
He passed away, yeah. So he passed away when I was young. And I saw him, like, you know, bringing in PTSD and bringing stuff to light and not doing it like too visually. Like, you know, I love that thing about psychedelics. It's not like if you want to do say something dark, like say you were raped or you saw your parents being killed in front of you or whatever it is. You know, that psilocybin treatment, like it brings those things up, but it doesn't like now physically you in that room seeing that situation, but it deals with that almost for you. And afterwards, you know, if it's the first time you're doing things, like for the next 3 months, I would wake up like some nights like just sweating, like just how in my dreams that psilocybin is still like dealing with that stuff for me, so I don't have to physically deal with it, and it's really life changing. It's incredible, you know. There's a lot of research about it. There's a lot of documentaries about it, you know, even like microdosing like MDMA and stuff, like for people who have severe PTSD from like they have that guy that the one docu I checked was the guy that was in Afghanistan, and he had such severe PTSD that he tried to slit his wrist so many times, just survived, and eventually he stabbed himself in the neck trying to just because he couldn't deal with the shit in his head anymore. And that's when they obviously were just like, they couldn't, like, there was no more pharmaceutical drugs or antidepressants. They just realized like no amount of anything of that shit is going to work for him. So they, because it's also difficult for someone coming from that to kind of go to such a kind of like, for lack of a word, hippie-ish treatment, which a lot of people still think about that stuff. And he did MDMA treatment for like microdosing MDMA, and 6 months he had no more nightmares. It completely disappeared. It's incredible. Like, I mean, I think it's and it was invented for those purposes. But I think the problem was that people it inevitably became a party drug, and then people like Nixon and stuff with the war on drugs, they just saw they would get elected if they kind of in those times kind of just really pushed against drugs, because the conservative people didn't just saw hippies fucking and Woodstock and these kind of crazy festivals and craziness and people in the streets going mal, but there's people who just fucking mal already. Yeah. Anyway, I'm obviously quite passionate about it.
Yeah, I can see.
I really think it's a wonderful thing. Yeah.
I think the thing with like mushrooms and psychedelics is that it's a very intense experience.
Yeah.
And I think it's a chaotic experience in a way because you're very focused a lot of the time on what's going on right now.
Yeah.
And you're so in the moment that you don't even realize that there's a whole world around you, you know? You can be very hyper-focused on stuff. And I think when there's someone there with you, because you often have revelations and stuff when you're using psychedelics. So if there's someone there while you're doing it to kind of point out what those mean and why that's coming up, you know, and guiding you, I feel like it could be a very good experience.
And it's also like, you know, there's different ways of using it. I mean, I've used it as a party drug many times. It's fun. I've played fucking I've got like a sit in my room at my house where I play games. I fucking take mushrooms there and sit and play games for like hours. Like there's a lot of uses to it, but I'm just saying like, it's really important to also experience it in a situation where there is not those distractions, where you can actually go into yourself and kind of figure and let those things come out of you and not be distracted by your friend freaking out or fucking the dog barking here or like someone like there's like it's just like, you know, it's super easy to be super focused on it, but it's also super easy to quickly get distracted and forget again, and then like lose focus completely. So it's good to do it, and that's all fun as well. But it's good to, I think everyone should at least once in their life do it like in such a focused way and in such a safe space, because it's also, you know, some people aren't supposed to be taking it as a party drug because some people just can't handle it in that way. And then they discredit it completely, which I think is wrong, because, you know, that's like anything. If you take like a fuck ton of Mybulins and drink a bottle of fucking brandy, you're gonna be fucked. But if you've got a headache and you take it, it's a different story. So it's like it helps. So it's also, you know, taking it in the situations that work for that works for you is a good experiment, not just to kind of discredit it because you had it one time at a fucking Joel and freak out, and now it's like, fuck that shit, it makes me crazy. Like yeah.
And would you say that it helped you accept losing your father at a young age, or
I mean, I don't think
those feelings?
I think it definitely, I did already kind of deal with that stuff, I think, in a way, but I think it just left a lot of stuff still in me. And I'm not saying that could have also, you know, that could have been one kind of passageway that led to a lot of other PTSD or stuff that I didn't deal with. Because, you know, it's easy. Like, you know, like, for example, I was bullied quite badly when I was in law school, primary school, like till about,
when you were younger, like primary school.
Yeah. And then, and I don't think you know, that stuff you don't deal with because you don't almost want to deal. Your brain is almost like taught to kind of lock those things away because who wants to deal with it? Like it's like so you lock that stuff away, push it away, but it's all still inside. Then it all makes little scars and little things in your brain, and this and what this stuff does, it unlocks those like kind of things and deals with it for you in a way that's not gonna cause you to fucking shoot up a school or whatever it is. Yeah, in a healthy way. Yeah.
And how did you start rapping? When was the first time you discovered it? And I mean, what makes you passionate about it?
Yeah, I was like, when I was really like standard 4, 1994, I got, my mom bought me you know, because at that time I was still listening to what my sisters were listening to and everyone else was listening to, and then my mom bought me like a CD player for Christmas, like a little tiny little Sony one, and Monster Eats at that time. It was like Monster Eats 4 or something. I can't remember. And then because then obviously it's got all the different music on, so you can kind of gauge what you get into more and kind of
it gives you like the top 40. Or
yeah. So you're like, cool. It's got rap on there. It's got flippin' rock on there. It's got dance music. It's got everything on there. And that was the year. And then What's My Name?
By Snoop Dogg.
By Snoop Dogg came out. And that was on there. And it was just, as soon as I heard it, I was like, this is the coolest thing. Because I was already into like, the books I liked and the stuff I liked to read. Like, you know, Snoop was also, his cover was like a comic with him on that in that dog on top of that like almost like Snoopy on top of that in that backyard. Anyway, you'll see the cover. Look at the cover. Sorry, I'm Afrikaans, so I forget the word sometimes. And everything. So that's. So that already was like, oh, cool. It's like cartoony and stuff. And then above and beyond that, I was really into, when I was younger, I always really liked Dr. Seuss, and I liked the rhyming kind of thing of it. And so it just like rap just automatically. So I don't think and that's why I always, people always say like, if you listen to gangster rap, you're going to, like, kids are going to become like gangsters.
It's like if you play video games, you're going to become a shooter.
Yeah, exactly. Which I mean, fuck, I'm the furthest from gangster. Like, I've never, like, I mean, and that just really made me get into fucking rap music. Yeah. That's what I liked
Snoop
about
Dogg
it.
was the inspiration.
Yeah, I didn't get into the topical side of it. I was fucking standard 3. I didn't even know what, like my mom always had this. There was this one song, Lottie Dottie, and it was like, and I knew it off by heart. And there was this one line, with your wrinkled pussy, you can be my lover. And then my mom would be like, how come rap for the people? And then my mom and her friends would be there, and I'd rap that whole song with that line in, and they'd all laugh and fucking shit. I didn't even know what the fuck it meant. Like, I mean, I was Afrikaans kid from fucking like this, like fucking northern suburbs. I had no fucking idea what I was really talking about. I was like 12, but it was like fucking. My mom was like, "Fucking, this is the funniest shit." So that's funny, for example, that's how supportive my mom was. That's what I mean. So she never told me, "Put this music, burn this. This is the fucking devil's music," or what, swearing and all of this stuff. She was like fully supportive. This is what I'm into. Fucking do it. And so that got me really into rap music. Snoop then. So I obviously immediately bought that album, and then through that kind of got more and more and more into like just different. I would go to that. There was this shop called Paperweight where you would go and you would buy all the like overseas mags, and they'd weigh them. So you'd go. It was just these fucking like looked like a empty 7-Eleven just with like these rows of books on the floor, and you would go sit and go through there, and I'd find all the like the XLs and the hip hop like magazines that you wouldn't be able to find anywhere, and then I'd go, and then thank God the internet came out, and then it was like I was sitting, I would sit with those books, and I would like find, because you couldn't also buy really. There was still, this was like music. I didn't bring a lot of that rap in yet, so there would be like a tiny little small thing like in a place like CD Select or Musica, and you'd go in and you'd like, there would be like a space where you could listen to it,
see if you want to buy the CD,
and you'd like go, and there'd be like fucking, maybe when I started it was maybe like 20 rap CDs, and I would just listen to all 20, and I would buy whatever I could buy, and then but then the internet fucking came out, and then stuff like Napster and like kind of that stuff. So I would go and buy these magazines, and then I would go sit at home. And then there was this thing where from 7 at night till 7 in the morning, it was like it was like super cheap. So my mom was like, I can use the internet because it was still dial up. I could put the house line off. And when I go to bed, and I just have to put it like to go off the internet again when I wake up in the morning, and then I'd like just like cue all these fucking albums that I loved, and then I just So I was just obsessed with rap music. Like I was so obsessed with rap music that I only heard Bob Dylan, for example, really heard it. I probably heard it, but I mean really heard it when I was like 19.
So you only really cared about rap.
Just wanted fucking only listen to rap, and then subgenres and like things that came out of the like drum and bass. I was really into drum and bass, and then I would go really into trip hop because like the producers that were producing hip hop. Because I obviously went from like gangster rap into more alternative rap, like stuff like Dr. Octagon and like Dal the Funky, Messiah and Roots Maneuver, like kind of went across to that type of style, and then like grew from that into those producers would be like DJ Shadow, DJ Crush, going to trip hop. So it was just like I just really loved. There was so much music at that time coming out in that style, because it was really the big style, kind of it grew into to the bigger style. So it was, but it was still so. Yeah, it was just such a fun place to explore as a kid because there was so much. You would be like, and it was also like not as easily. It was if you found something, it was like fuck. You know, people would if my friends would find something, they wouldn't share it. They'd play it in their cars or in the like.
But like if you found a good song, you wouldn't share that song.
Yeah, like a good album.
Yeah,
you'd be like.
This is mine.
Yeah.
I mean, these days with Spotify and everything, you can access it so easy. I mean, you can just Shazam anything now.
Yeah.
But back in the day, it was. I even remember when I first had like a Nokia 3310 or like the first. I don't remember the first one I had with the camera.
Yeah.
Or like a audio recorder. I would record the song off the radio.
Yeah.
And it's like to have music on your phone was like a cool thing.
Yeah. Fucking,
it was really cool.
It was crazy. And I mean, flipping, it went like, obviously before that there was tapes where you'd make mixtapes and shit. But with CDs, it was just with the CDs and the invention and the kind of an internet, like kind of the invention of the internet and kind of piracy, obviously. I think that's why I became a musician as well, because I pirated so fucking much when I was younger. Because it was the only way that I could fucking
so
find
you're giving back to the industry now by becoming a musician.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, you discovered Snoop Dogg.
Yeah.
You discovered rapping. You get into it. And then where does it go from there? Do you start just rapping with friends, in the garage, performing? What happened?
Then I just kind of wrote. Like, I just liked writing. So I just would obviously, also, like, at school, my favorite subjects were, like, my languages, because I could write, like, because you would write, like, essays and stuff like that. That I always did the best in my languages. So it was always something I really just enjoyed writing and exploring that, like, creative part of my brain where I could think of stories, and then that kind of. Then when I moved to Cape Town after school, I lived in this house with a bunch of guys, like we just like a classic student, like kind of vibe. Everyone was studying, like etc. And then and the scene at that time, that was that time of like that whole dope movement, like that time Max Normal just came out, the first original Max Normal, and like things like Cybot and like Marcus Wormstorm, like there was a very much of a kind of a alternative rap scene going on in Cape Town. Very underground, but it was happening a lot, and all the bars I would hang out. Then there was like the Jam was still a place where Mercury was. Now it's closed, but next to the Shack, there was a place called the Jam, which later turned to Mercury. But the Jam was like crazy because you could smoke weed in there, for example. At that time, this is now fucking long ago,
20, 30 years ago,
yeah,
25 years ago.
Yeah, when I was like, not that long ago.
you're not that old.
Yeah.
Like 15, 20 years.
Yeah, like 15, 20 years,
okay.
Yeah. And then, and they would that was their vibe, reggae, dancehall, hip hop, and that kind of scene. So it was just fucking easy to get exposed to like really cool shit because you would just go there and you'd hang out at the it was almost like one big that's why like we wouldn't even say where you're going this weekend. We
Everyone
just go there. Yeah. And there was homegrown, those drum and bass parties, and there was just like it was just like a fucking rad scene. And it was so safe because you didn't have to drive anywhere or anything. You get there, you fucking party there. There's a bar on the one side. They had like also had like at that time like would close at like 4 in. So you could it was just like it was the best time for me to grow up, for me to kind of experience and get
into the industry a little bit,
get into
see
the
what
industry.
It's about.
Yeah, and then I kind of just met guys that also like made rap music, and then. One day they came to my house. These two guys, they had this crew called Family, but without an I because there's no I in family. Like it's like
it's still said the same way.
Yeah,
really.
Family,
family.
Yeah, but it's fucking. But I mean, that is like.
When I was looking you up, I saw that you joined a group called Family.
Yeah.
I was like. That is, I'm not gonna lie, it's a lame fucking.
But that is like, I mean, that's
We're the family.
Me calling myself Bongske instead of Bombske. It's lame as fuck. But it's like, that's like obviously where you, like the funniness of it.
Yeah.
Like coming from all of that fucking type of stuff and just trying big like stoners and just like, oh, fucking like, and so they came to my house and my friend Herman, who lived with me, he was this rollerblader guy, and he was like, he met these guys, they're gonna come. And then it was like almost like fucking idols. Like they came to my house, I had to rap for them. And then I kind of rapped them. And then I was still like, you know, it was almost rehearsed stuff because I didn't freestyle or any of that type of shit. I just like kind of wrote stuff, and then I would learn like a little piece of my stuff, and then I would like rap it to my friends and stuff. So it was very much rehearsed, and I didn't really have a flow yet and all of that type of stuff, but it was cool, and I kind of saw that it was cool, and so I started rapping with them. And then it kind of just grew from that. It was the fucking raddest thing to kind of have guys that also do the same shit and can kind of show me, okay, cool, do it over this beat, and kind of, and then I started through them kind of going very much into another part of the scene, which was like, you know, going to battles and going to
Rap
like
battles.
open mics and like things like that. And they would be like, you know, at like these weird fucking just random fucking bar, like clubs and stuff in like OBS or like Woodstock. Like they would be like 10 crews on the night, and you could just go up and fucking rap. So it wasn't like open mic sounds like, oh, everyone's sitting. It was not fucking like that.
It was wild.
Just like, it was wild. It was fucking wild. And then you'd go, or you'd go to like Mitchell's Plain, to like the fucking taxi rank, and then there'd be like a fucking like just battles happening there and like shit. I wasn't really a battle MC. I didn't really like that much, but I freestyled and I kind of like just did stuff like that. And through that, I met like some really cool fucking rappers, Chronic X, this one guy, and like Garlic Brown, who was in Brasse van die Kaap at that time. And like Isaac Mutant and Scallywag and like all these kind of really cool like guys that were actually making albums and making fucking good music
and making money from it.
Yeah, well, not really a lot of money, but you know, fucking at least making music like for a life, like
trying,
yeah. And then kind of then started realizing I can rap in Afrikaans as well.
So up to that point, you were rapping in English.
Yeah, because you obviously rap like what you hear, and Snoop and like that. You know, I just rapped. I didn't fucking think anyone would want to hear Afrikaans fucking rap. So then kind of with Isaac Mutant, for example, he's like kind of credited as being one of the first guys to rap in Afrikaans. So it was like that kind of a thing, you know, being part of that whole scene, you know, they came from all that like POC, Prophets of the City days and that stuff, Ready D and things like that. So it was cool kind of being able to hang out with those guys and being able to fucking see that I can do it in my own language and my own style. And then just one day I decided, fuck, I'm going to write the verse in Afrikaans. And I literally never wrote an English verse again. Like I was just like, this is finally, because I never felt like I was being myself. I felt like I was writing.
You're rapping in someone else's language.
To sound like fucking the stuff I've been hearing.
And rap is supposed to be, not supposed to be, but often it's you telling a story.
Yeah.
Often it's your story.
Yeah, and then
so if you're telling a story in a different language, it doesn't feel as authentic.
And you know, the funnest thing about it also was then I like almost fucking immediately kind of developed my own style. And you know, I've got a kind of a very unique style, sound, everything, because there wasn't anything to copy. So I just fucking did my own shit, and I just did it the way I thought I would fucking want to do it, and then I just made this thing. So people are always like, "Oh, you like?" We say I'm a rapper, or I make hip hop, or like fuck. But I just fucking make like whatever the fuck I'm making. Like it's like I rap, but I don't completely see it as rap. I don't see it as hip hop. I don't see it as rock. I don't see it like I just see it as what I make. So that's kind of the fun thing about it, that I can just completely be myself and completely do my own shit in this like in the space that I'm in, which is great, which is fucking great for a creative person or if you're doing something creative, to just be allowed to not have to worry fucking about anything. And then to actually be able to make money out of that and make a living out of it.
Awesome, yeah.
It's just awesome. And then actually being like played and playlisted and fucking at that time,
touring and
at that time, they literally created a fucking TV station around our movement, like with me and Folk of Blisikar and like all that Afrikaans like kind of movement. They created a TV channel called MK at that time, MK89, around our movement because it was blowing up so much, which is fucking rad. Like we did this, we actually made this, like we did this because we didn't want to be part of all that pop fucking Afrikaans shit. And then it just became its own fucking thing without us like even like thinking we would even be able to play shows. Like, I mean, I just played wherever I could for like a pizza and a beer. I never in my fucking entire life, I just loved doing it so much. I never thought I would do it as a living. It was like not even fucking idea in my brain. And then one night I was at like, and then I'd making music for so fucking long already. Like I was 20s.
You've been around for ages.
Yeah, and then I was like, so I started like obviously like rapping actually when I started writing when I was like 16. And then I started actually rapping with when those guys came to my house and doing it actually on stages when I was about 20 or 19. And then only when I was 27, I kind of had an underground following happening. But then when I was 27, I kind of really, it blew up because I was at Assembly one night and I literally I remember fucking, I just remember being like so fucking irritated with all these people thinking they're so fucking cool. And I was still this Afrikaans kid from like fucking the northern suburbs, and like I didn't fit in with all these fucking people who thought they were so fucking cool. And I went down to I had this red Toyota Corolla, and it was so fucked. It had like a diamond fucking tape deck with like a tape with a wire into a CD Walkman, and the face had broken. Also, we had like a stick going from the back seat to the fucking thing that hold it in. And it was like, they'd stolen all my fucking speakers and shit. So it had like hi-fi, the actual hi-fi speakers. I wired that to the wires that were left after they stole my 6x9s or whatever. So I just had like hi-fi speakers, and it was really, the window was always broken. I just left it broken because they would just fucking break it. I was like, fuck it. I'm not even fixing it. So, and I just went down and I just climbed in my car, and the lights hadn't been working. So I freed it down a little bit to a fucking street light, and I tried to find like a fucking, and I think I was pretty stoned as well, and I'm trying to find like a pen somewhere there, and I can't find a piece of paper because I'm just like, I need to write something down now, get rid of this anger. And I found like a Checkers Slippy on the floor there, and I wrote I wrote Koelers Ecke on the back of that Checkers Slippy. I still have the Checkers Slippy with the lyrics on, and fucking wrote it right in the car just out of fucking anger, and then freaked out and fucking like started driving to my petrol, ran out fucking somewhere in like fucking close to Hermanus, slept in my car, that kind of like freak out. And then I had to find my mom the next day to help me out, like pay petrol into my account so I could get back to Cape Town. And I even that happened again. I ended up in Nijs, but that's a different story. And then and then I went to my chommie's house, fucking said, let's record this song. We recorded it. My other friend said, fuck, this is rad, let's make a video. Took his camera, his name's Divan. We went to fucking Parow, there by the Burger Fair, filmed the stuff, fucking made this video. We like put it on like YouTube, and it was like 10 people saw it. And then a day later, they had 100 views. And I was like, 100 fucking people saw this video. And then next day, they had 10,000. And the next day, they had 100,000. And then fucking it just kept going. It was actually the first Afrikaans video in history
to reach 1 million views.
Yeah.
I saw that.
And now, I mean, fuck, now there's so many. Because then also remember, it was still, YouTube wasn't as big as it was now.
Yeah, there was a lot less people. So 1 million views is a lot.
Yeah, it was a fuck ton that time. And that blew up. Then I went from like rapping at fucking Shabeens and shit to flying to fucking on a Friday playing in Durban and on a Saturday playing in Amsterdam and on a fucking Wednesday playing Russia and then flying back and playing Joburg on the Friday. Like, it was fucking insane. It just went from literally from that to this fucking whole other world. Yeah. And then being able to, and then fucking just being able to do that. And that's why I think I burnt out, because then I did that. Fucking literally touring like an insane person.
Like 10 years.
Yeah, fucking longer. Like 14, 13 years.
Jeez.
And then, so I think COVID to me was a bit of a blessing because I could
take a break.
Yeah,
You're forced to take a break.
Yeah, forced break.
And what is that like? Because I'm assuming you were probably not doing great up until that song went viral,
Yeah.
You released that song. What did that feel like when you were like all these years of working on your craft and putting in the hours? What was that like when the song did finally get some success?
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy, but still, I was just like, fuck, it's rad. Now I can play a bit more shows and stuff.
Yeah.
I was still working and fucking doing like random fucking shit. And then I was actually working at a design agency. And I went to them, and then eventually I was like, and then I had to make a decision. I was like, okay, fuck. This whole MK thing started blowing up. I did a song with the Evels and Tasty called the Vraagstuk, which really blew up, and they blew up. So I was like, okay, now I have to start like playing shows with them. They playing like shows the whole time. They want me to do that song because it's doing super well. So now I must make a decision. Like, I wasn't making money yet, really. So what am I gonna do? Am I gonna fucking actually take this on? And I was like, fuck it. I'm like, if I'm ever gonna do it, I fucking have to do it.
Do it now, yeah.
So I quit my job. They thought I said I'm gonna make Afrikaans rap music. They were like, you're fucking crazy. And then I moved back to my mom's house. And then I'd already been living out of my parents' house for 10 years. So I had to make that decision to move back to my mom's house.
So you could save money.
So I could save money. And then I move back to my mom's house. Then I recorded like 6 songs, just like fucking, and I made this EP, and I went on like MySpace and Facebook, and I put my banking details, and you could pay money into my account and be like, and then I would go to the library. My girlfriend at the time drew me like an album cover. I would go, photostat it at the library, cut out all the album covers, put my PC, I write the album on a CD, and then sign the fucking thing, put it in a plastic sleeve with the fucking CD cover, black and white, photostated, go to the post office, first see who all paid money into my account, and then go to the post office, post it out. Or if people lived in Cape Town, I would just drive to their house and like drop it. So people still come to my shows and say, with those albums, and they're like, you came to my fucking house, knocked at my door, and gave me this album. So I hustled my fucking ass off, and then like and then it obviously, after Coolers Ecke came out, because this was just before, like that was kind of when Vraagstuk blew up, and Coolers Ecke hadn't blown up that big yet, but I was just like, fuck it, I'm gonna do this. And then and then it just kind of got bigger and bigger and bigger to this point where I could then get a flat and I bought like my friends' PlayStations and shit like that, like just like did stupid shit with my money, but it was fun. Yeah. At the start, always. I
heard that for one of your, I think it was Cool as Ecke.
Yeah.
You put it on an ice cream cone shaped flash drive.
Yeah. Yeah, so my first label that I signed with wasn't actually a music label. It was a chill me of mine's it was a chill me of mine's design label called his name's Piet Pinaar and Henry Visser, and they had this place called The President, and they signed me, and then then the first shoot we did, we had bought this, we found this suit that's completely newspaper. And I always wear a cap, and we were like, fuck, it's so boring, this cap. Let's make a newspaper cap. And as we made it, we were like, why don't we make it like long? And then and that's where the long cap comes from. It was just actually for one shoot. And I had this newspaper thing, I had this newspaper hat, and I had like newspaper with chips, like slap chips and shit in it. And that was like the shoot. It is definitely online, if you can check it. But and that was the first shoot I ever did as Jack Parow. And that was with a design agency, and they fucking invented that whole kind of look around it. I don't know what the question was before.
It was
that.
about the ice cream cone.
and then we were like, fucking, I had these tracks, but I felt like, I only had like a few tracks. And I also was doing a lot of I was playing around with a lot of Flash design at that time, like Flash animation. So I was like, I want to do this fucking weird Flash animation where it's like my brain, the inside of my brain, for a website. And then we were like, what fuck, why don't we rather get it so that put it on a flash drive and then people can put it in their thing? And he was like, oh, fuck, he's got this rad book with all these fucking flash drives. We can just choose one. And then we found the ice cream one, Coolers Ecke.
All the different designs.
Did it, and then did. So if you put it in, obviously, fucking it's like, I don't think there's any left in there. They're all probably fucked by now. But if you put it in, then a thing would pop up with like animated stuff, my brain,
so
and like
cool.
weird shit, and then you could get like wallpapers at that time for your backdrop for your computer, and you would get like fucking some video, some music, some like videos of me playing live, and also like all these tracks that I'd done by that point. Yeah,
It's amazing how much harder it used to be.
Yeah,
to get your stuff out there.
No, it was fucking hard. And then creating it and then having to get people to actually fucking listen to it was like fucking. And even like before, I was lucky. I just blew up at the time when YouTube and that stuff kind of blew up because I would never imagine. I've had to sent. Someone saw me on fucking YouTube in Holland and was like to the biggest label in Holland, top notch. He went like, dude, and he was a rapper, so I was like, you got to sign this guy. Sign me. Then they went to the biggest booking agency, Mojo, and was like, you got to book this guy. And then that all came without me ever being in the Netherlands. But if that didn't happen, I would have had somehow think in my mind, oh, maybe they'll like it in the Netherlands. Then fucking go there and kind of shop it to like radio stations and labels and trying to get them to fucking get into it. Then fucking start playing shows. Maybe if I don't get on that, play show for like fucking at random places. Get
so
like
you get a plane ticket home.
And then like then they get like maybe those 10 people tell their friends and like. But now with that blew up, I was flying there and I was really playing sold out shows. So it's crazy. So and that was just the start of it. So now it's become a different problem. Now it's too saturated the market.
There's too many people making it.
I think I saw this, someone just chatting this thing, like when we were younger, there was celebrities. Now, and you would know, there's only a few like massive celebrities. You would know those people and you still know them. They're still fucking around, like people like Brad Pitt or like fucking Julia Roberts. Those were like celebrities. Now, there's celebrities we haven't even fucking heard of.
They're all over the place.
Yeah,
your next door neighbor could have 10 million TikTok followers. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's a super different world, but it's also dangerous because it also like devalues a lot of things in many ways. And people that really work hard to become good at their craft won't make money out of it because someone else did something funny or something that just bit for some reason, which is still cool. I like it's cool, but it's just I think it's a different space now where it's quite volatile.
You have to adapt so quickly.
And there's just so much to kind of fight against. I'm lucky that I kind of still have like quite a niche kind of thing, and I'm very happy it's very nichey. People, they flew me to this, like when all of this stuff, like 2010, when everything blew up, they kind of flew me to the States to they wanted to sign me, a big label there, Paradigm wanted to sign me. And then, and they fucking treated me like royalty. I flew like fucking, like first class to, like, I got there, like LA, I went for like dinner with like fucking Snoop. Like Snoop's management, and he came through and like fucking said hello quickly and fucking it was just like super LA as fuck. They were trying to like obviously schmooze the fuck out of me, and then wanted me to redo all my music in English, and then I was like, fuck, bro, that it's such I just blew up making Afrikaans
because
music,
it's Afrikaans,
and I blew up
They're trying to take the thing that makes you original.
Yeah, exactly. So I was just, and it was difficult because as I said, they schmoozed the fuck out of me, and I was like, nah, fuck it, I'm gonna stick to Afrikaans.
That's tough.
And I'm so
to make,
and I'm so happy now because I think it's by sticking to my guns and sticking and being myself, I've kind of built a really strong following and a strong niche audience, which I hope will support me forever, and I can keep making music and making cool shit for
You're gonna be like 80 and still rocking out.
Yeah, fuck. My shows might be a bit more chilled. Yes, I was like this weekend. I was like, fuck, And someone actually asked me, how long do you think you still do this? I'm like, I'll do it forever, but I definitely have to tone down my fucking shows because my shows are almost like metal shows because it's quite hard and it's quite fucking
takes it out of you,
balls to the wall. So
I saw something that said that you always give all of your energy every single time.
No, I do, and I love it. I think it's my time. I'm addicted to it in a way as well. That's also something I realized in fucking where I got kind of down and in the dumps in COVID because like anyone, like a rugby player. You might have a shit week, now you go and run on a rugby field and you take, without you knowing, you take out all of that fucking aggression and anxiety and everything out. And that I used to do on stage. And then when I didn't have that for fucking 2 years, basically.
You got roid rage.
I got crazy. My brain got too crazy. I was like fucking issues, small things got much bigger than they needed to be because I just didn't have that release.
Well, I think we saw that with everyone.
Yeah, no, 100%.
You saw online. I feel like the most angry people have ever been was during COVID.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Because no one had anything else to do. So everyone was like, that looks messed up. I'm going to really get angry about that, and just go way further because people had so much time.
Yeah.
But I mean, so one of your icons, one of your inspirations was Snoop Dogg, right?
Yeah.
I heard that you opened for him.
I've opened for him a few times. I've opened for him 4 or 5 times.
Jeez.
But I always say he's always so stoned. I could have just as well played with his wax statue at Madame Tussauds because every time I'm and he's just fucking I think But it was an honor being able to play with him. I opened for him a few times already. For Eminem as well.
For Eminem as well?
Yeah.
Gee, that's crazy.
Yeah, and he actually, it was crazy because when I opened for Eminem, he actually chose people could send in applications to obviously open and stuff, and they actually chose me. He not him obviously, but his management or whatever chose because I was the only local act. It was me and Action Bronson, and because it was only South African tour, and so it was fucking cool to actually be able to play. And that time Action Bronson was still fucking super small, and he was flying Kalula with us. Now he's obviously fucking massive. Hanging out with him and also getting to meet him and stuff like that. It was really cool. I didn't get to meet Eminem, unfortunately. He doesn't meet fucking anyone. He's so recluse. He doesn't even when he sound checks, everyone, even the cleaners must leave the stadium. It's
That's so weird.
It's he doesn't I mean, I get it, kind of. He's fucking.
He's been
Michael
through,
Jackson.
He's been through quite a lot as well. I think he's probably,
I don't want to compare him to Michael Jackson. That was maybe a weird one, but you get what I'm saying. So big.
Fame-wise.
Elvis.
Not touching little boys-wise.
Elvis Presley or fucking someone. He's that level. There's a certain level that just transcends almost everything. It's just if you're that famous and that good at your craft, it's you transcend everything and you just become this mega celebrity almost in a way.
Yeah. I mean, so you did meet Snoop, right?
Yeah.
And did you chill with him at all, or was it just kind of hi, goodbye?
It was just kind of hi, goodbye. And the other time I played with him in Amsterdam, same kind of thing. I've met a few people. But I think Snoop he was a super nice guy. He was I'm just joking. He was just really stoned, and he's
he's always really
a lot of weed. Yeah, but it was really cool. And I actually took the poster. I bought a poster in 1994 when I got into him. I bought a poster at Cardi's. It says, "Rest in peace, Calvin Brodus." 1970, whatever, till 1994. because then he became Snoop Dogg and his real name's Calvin Broder. So it was like kind of
I didn't even know that was his real name.
Yeah, so that was a death to his like.
And then he became Snoop Lion.
And then yeah, exactly like
that was when you met him, hey? When he was Snoop Lion at the time, wasn't he?
I think so, yeah.
One of the times at least,
yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, no, definitely the time in South Africa I met him, he was Snoop Lion. Yeah. But then I took in that poster and because I still have it and it's like signed and everything. But it's like super cool because it's like the first poster he fucking pretty much ever made as Snoop. I'm pretty proud of it. Like,
that's
and then,
awesome.
Yeah, it's super rad. And that it survived so long. Like fucking that was like 2000 and maybe for what would it be? 2010. So that poster was like 16, 17 years old. So it was like, yeah.
How many people were you guys performing for when you opened for like Snoop and Eminem and?
Eminem was massive. That was stadium. That was like
Cape Town Stadium.
And
like 70,000 people.
And Joburg as well, same thing. And then with Snoop, I played. Obviously, like the festivals don't really count because that's like there's so many people on those lineups. But I played Melkweg in Amsterdam, which is 1,800 indoor venues. And like, it was. And then I played Grand West with Snoop as well.
I love the Grand West.
Yeah,
stadium.
that arena. Yeah,
because it's like big, but it's not too big.
Yeah.
You know, it kind of feels more personal.
Yeah. And I mean, because, you know, I'm super lucky to be able to tour the Netherlands quite often and play like really crazy festivals. I was just one, like, and to be like kind of a headlining, like one of the headlining acts there, which is fucking crazy. You know, I just got back 3 weeks ago from playing there and I played like, for example, Passpop. I played like, I had like a 10:15 slot on like the second biggest stage there, which is fucking crazy because there's like 30 stages and it looks like a fucking it's a level of festivals there and it's just insane. And you know then like Limp Bizkit played like fucking like after me, you know, things like that. It's like it's like quite a mind blow to kind of be able to travel there and play with like massive bands and it being like, yeah, it's like if someone from another country comes, everyone fucking loses their shit. You can't even, the local artists can't even be in the same sections, like their own section. There it's like fucking, you know, you're sitting and fucking like, fucking my dressing room's here and like AC/DC's fucking dressing room is just like, it's like more of obviously,
everyone's
they fucking used to having massive bands there the whole time. So it's really, I'm really thankful to have been touring there for so long and to be able to have shared stages with everyone from like fucking Prodigy to, which is one of my favorite bands, to like fucking crazy like Kendrick Lamar and fucking more newer stuff and just played music with, just shared stages with really rad people. Yeah.
What was the coolest collaboration you ever got to do?
I think I'm a big David Kramer fan. So I've been able to make music with people I really respect from a Afrikaans music point of view, which is like David Kramer and Koos Kombuis and Valiant Swart. So those are really special to me because it's part of my upbringing. You know, that I listened to before even Snoop, you know, that was my sisters were listening to that. My parents were listening to David Kramer. You know, these are like people who also pushed the boundaries of Afrikaans in a time when Afrikaans, or when South Africa was quite in a shitty space, and these artists really like stood up against all of that, and that's why I kind of respect them, and that they still doing so, and that's why they're still around and still doing so well, to still got followings because of that reason. So that's why I always try and stand up for what I believe in as much as possible, and not trying to fold to like peer pressure and stuff like that. And that's why those people, I tend, like, I'm really happy to have met them and kind of have made music with them. Yeah. And then I've also made really cool songs with, I love, like, I just like making music with people. I like I do a lot of collabs because it is just fucking fun, you know. I just did.
It's fun to work with other people and see the way their brain works.
And also
and
push us out of my boundary. I just did that song like with Maporiso, which is again pushing me like into I'm a piano space, and that was quite a. I did that with Monster and with him, and it was such a fucking rad thing to push me out of that space again. And then I'm doing songs with Dutch like rave artists, which pushes me again to another space, and like so I like that because it's also, you know, I think music, I like kind of constantly pushing myself and kind of pushing myself into different spaces, even though I always have my own style and I stick to I've got my stuff that I create, but I like going to weird spaces and seeing if I can actually like live in that space, and if it comes fucking nice, and it like, yeah, so I do enjoy, I love collabs, yeah.
What was your life like when you were first starting touring? Because I could imagine that it must have been pretty crazy. I mean, did you guys party hard while touring?
Yeah, fuck. I mean, yeah. No, we did party very hard. Yeah, I don't even know what to tell you. Like, we just, yeah, it was crazy. At the stage, I was touring so much that I would like get landing. So as I said, I would like play the Friday fucking in PE, and then the Saturday, like fly Saturday morning first thing, fucking land in 11 hours later, land in Holland, go to fucking play a festival there, and then fucking do like 2-3 shows 3 days in a row, then fly back, have to play like fucking Durban or Joburg or whatever. So I was like, just lack of sleep, and fucking obviously
drinking.
I party. I'm not I don't think I have a over excessive party here, but when I play shows, I don't drink. Like, for example, I don't drink in the week. I fucking chill in the week. But when I play shows, I party. So when I played that many shows, I was partied a fucking lot. So, and then I would get back, and sometimes there's at the stage I had these salt baths in like all these spots and hotels, and it would like, it's like almost like a desensoring kind of thing. And they said like,
sensory deprivation tank.
Yeah, kind of in a way, but anyway, like I don't want to say now something, and I don't know if it's exactly that, but it's like it was these bars, and you would lie, and you'd be weightless almost. So you would sleep in it. So it would be like so I would say like an hour is like 4 hours. Like sleeping in there for 1 hour would be like 4 hours sleep. So
the rejuvenation of the sleep. It's like you don't have to sleep as much because that's much deeper sleep.
Yeah. Kind of that thing. So I would just go, and then I'd go to like, they'd take me to like a spa, and I would sleep like 3 hours in this thing, and then fucking wake up again, and then being rushed to a fucking show and shit like that. So it was crazy. It was crazy. I could never do that now. I think I'm glad that because then I was also just starting out. So for example, my fee wasn't as much. So I had to play a lot. But if I was charging like more, then I could play less. So obviously it's just to push your brand up and then get to a space where you can kind of decide where you want to play.
I'll do this one, I won't do that one. Yeah. And I mean, I know this is kind of a broad question, because it's often when you ask someone like, what is the craziest thing that's happened on tour? Or like when you ask someone those kind of questions, it's very broad because obviously so much stuff happens. Yeah. But is there anything that happened to you while on tour or during your career that you were like, that was crazy?
Fuck, yeah. I mean, people ask me that question quite often, and I always try and fucking think of something, but it is...
It is a tough one,
It is a tough one because it becomes also like a blur. Like a lot of crazy shit has happened, but if I sit here and think of one crazy story, I can't even think of one.
Have you ever been injured while on tour?
Yeah, I mean, for example, I've played and fucking there was a broken glass on the stage, and I went down and it fucking stuck into my kneecap, and then I just kind of fucking masking taped it up and played on. And I've been injured a lot. I once played with a knee brace for long. After that, I played in Jeffreys Bay actually, and I was flying to Russia the next day, and we got to J Bay. And it was like the biggest storms of like fucking ever there. Like literally, I swear to you, we drove onto the bridge to check it out, and there was a guy with a jet ski on the highway, like driving with a jet ski, like on the fucking highway, because there was so much water. It was floods. So I had to move this stage was on this hill. It was like a 5 FM kind of that time and kind of party. And they had to move the whole stage really quickly into this warehouse so the party could still go on, obviously. And they didn't tell me, but they didn't. There was a little gap between the front of the stage and the back of the stage, like a small little gap that they just didn't push all the way against each other. And I was doing dance, and I always go to the crowd to sing a part of the chorus, and I just went forward. And as I went forward and I put it out, my leg went in there, and my whole knee dislocated. So I hooked my whole knee out. So I fucking found, I was like, fuck. And then I just like kind of pushed it back in. And luckily it was like my second last song. So I finished the kind of set. And then obviously tore so much fucking shit in my leg and shit because of just forcing it, just kind of like ricking it back. And then I had to fly to Russia the next day. So I got on the plane, obviously, and my knee was fucked. And I was like, oh, fuck, it should be all right. I'm going to fucking just get there. I'll get some fucking shit. And then I got there and it was like swollen like a fucking water balloon, my leg. And then I went to like because in Russia no one speaks fucking English. And so I went to the
Did you ask
pharmacy.
anyone if they spoke Afrikaans?
And it's also, their fucking writing looks like fucking hieroglyphs. So it's like fucking, I don't know what the fuck is it. Like I have no fucking idea what's going on here. Go to the pharmacy. I'm like, dude, look at my fucking knee. It's like fucked.
Massive.
And he was just gave me like Voltaren. And I'm like, fuck. So then I was there on tour for like 6 days. And then by the time I got to Africa, it was too late. Like my leg was just fucked. So I played for like 3-4 years with like a full, like a
brace on,
but like a heavy one, like a carbon fiber fucking brace, like on my leg. Yeah.
Are Jack Parow and Xander Tyler the same people, or is Jack a character?
Well, I mean, obviously, it's like fucking. I don't drink and braai all day, every single day. Like, I mean, it's an over embellishment of my actual character traits, I'll say. So it's like, you know, I always say like Xander is my sober self and Jack Parow is my drunk self. So it's like, you know, Superman. If he like Clark Kent's not fucking like that, like as soon as he becomes Superman, or
when
like,
he puts on the glasses,
Hulk is probably a better. Yeah. Hulk is probably a better one. Bruce Banner's like, he's like, has got no muscles, you know, he's like a kind of a, for lack of a word, weakling.
Average guy.
Yeah. And then when he becomes Hulk, all his like fucking traits just get pushed to this massive level. And that's kind of what I think it is, you know. I'm playing on the stuff I like, and I'm playing on my character, but it's just really like kind of over embellished to a certain extent. Yeah.
And do you feel like it makes things easier to have the character? Because you can pretend kind of like if you do some wild shit, you're like, that's Jack.
Yeah,
that's not Xander.
100%. I mean, I think that's why from the start I made Jack Parow so hectic, because now everything I do is like obviously
comedic.
Obviously, he fucking did that. Is Jack fucking Parow.
Yeah.
Like so it's like, you know, it's like a shield, but it's also came from a space, you know, why I think I also got really like rap, because I could become someone else, because I'm actually quite. Now I've learned to do things like this, but I'm actually quite introverted and quite a shy person, like still till this day, you know. But at a show, I can speak to anyone. But if I'm going out at night and there's someone sitting, and then like I struggle, I kind of have to I struggle to speak to just strangers. But at a show, I can speak to fucking anyone, because I become like, it's just almost that Jack Parow becomes that shield. And you know, I think I always say, like, the reason why I also became a musician, because I was too fucking shy to be in the crowd, but I still wanted to be part of the party. So then I could be away from everyone on the stage, which is a weird way, but I mean, then I don't have to deal with the people. I can like be part of the party, but I can be on the stage.
And just coming towards the end, there was something that I saw. It was just so funny. There was an article where you answered a bunch of questions, and one of them was, which well-known South African personality would you, without a doubt, be able to beat in a street fight, and why? Do you remember that question?
Fuck. I do not, but I do remember being probably asked that it feels like I've read it. Who did I say?
You said Leon Schuster because I already clapped him once.
Yeah.
So there was, I didn't know until I started doing some research yesterday, but you were shucksed by Leon Schuster.
Yeah. Which is like a pretty honor, like an honor to be done with. Like, you know, it's like being on I've been on a 30-second card, which is another honor. And the middle poster of the huisgenoot, that's like the Afrikaans trifecta.
Were you the
shucks.
You were the
with Leon
centerfold. What were you wearing?
I was like wearing like I was holding like a taxidermy duck. And like fucking,
So you were pranked by Leon Schuster.
Yeah.
Can you tell me that story? How did that happen, and what did happen?
So I played at Monte Casino the night before. No, Empress Palace. What's the one close to the airport in Joburg? Anyway, one of those two, like casino. I played a show there, and just close to it in Boksburg, there's like almost like a Oriental Plaza, like a market thing. And I was like really hungover and fucking like, and my management phoned me and said like, listen here, there's this guy selling fake Jack Parow hats at this market. Like, we now on the other side of Joburg. Can you just go check if it's true? But they were obviously in on it. If it is them, if it is happening, if it is, you can just let us know and we'll come and we'll sort it out. And I was like, fuck, who?
So someone at a market was selling bootleg hats.
Yeah, bootleg,
like fake
Parow
merch.
Merchandise.
Yeah.
Like they just said merch.
And your management said, go sort that out.
Yeah, go see if it's
check
true.
it out. Yeah.
You close to it. It's like a block away from you or 2 blocks away from you. Just go check it out. We don't want to drive. And I was like, oh, fuck, I'm so hungover, really. This is not my job. Who gives a fuck? Like, etc. Kind of kept pushing me. Okay, fuck, I'll drive. So I kind of drove there, and then I get to this market, and it's obviously a big market. So I just thought, they kind of tell me, kind of send me where it is. So I kind of walk, and I ask the security guy, and he's like, cool. He's obviously also kind of, I think he was into it, and he was like, oh, that store, yeah, it's around here. It takes me, and then I come around the corner, and there's just this fucking super flamboyant fucking dude, like just
Indian guy
just selling fucking long hats. So it's so I'm just like, fuck, this is crazy. And you know, if I look at it now, I'm like, how did I not realize it was him?
I thought you did realize
but I do at certain points I realize it, but he's so good. So he has like signs, and then there's this couple will come in and fucking say like when he starts, he can almost see when I start realizing something.
So he brings a distraction in.
So it's distractions the whole time. And then he fucking just like, so I was like, dude, like, you can't sell this. This is my name. I'm going to take this gap, and I'm going to take it to my management, and I'm going to show them, because this is illegal. Like, you obviously can't just sell, like, put my name
Someone
on stuff and sell it. And he's just like talking. And then he starts pushing me here the whole time now, fucking, because I've afterwards found out he wanted me to clap him. And my management was like, Jack Parow is super chill. He will, like, I don't fucking fight. Like, so it's like, you're going to have to push him super hard to fucking slap you. So he just kept going. He's actually, you don't even see everything. They've cut it. It's like fucking, like, he actually goes for quite long, pushes me, and then he starts pushing me on this bone on my, fucking the whole time. And it's like, you know, and that irritates me so fucking much. And then eventually I'm like, listen. And he pushes me, I'm standing in a corner eventually. I'm like backing up against this wall. And I'm like, listen here, if you push me once more, I'm going to have to clap you. And he just walked up to me, and he like pushed me, and he just gave me a little slap on my fucking face.
He did slap you first, yeah.
And then I was like, fuck. And then I just clapped him. And I fight so little, so I didn't like think, like, I just almost slapped my left hand. I like fucking, and he asked him if I was left or right, so he could duck with a slap. So he knew if I was right hand, I'm going to slap with my right hand. So he can, if he ducks with it, it's not as bad.
Yeah.
But then he ducked into it. And I clapped him so hard. He actually, afterwards, he was drinking a whiskey and like shaking because he fucking went straight
I love that though. It's like, you fight so little, you didn't know what hand to slap with. You'd be like the worst. So just to end off, I mean, where do you see your career going from here?
Well, I mean, I really enjoyed it. I just, like, as I said, I just dropped a new album called the Evangelie van Goeie Time, which was one of my favorite things I've ever done, because after I was at that retreat, I kind of wrote some music there, and I didn't go write music. It just came out of me. I really realized at that retreat that my psychiatrist and my fucking best release is also writing. So I have to. So I decided, fuck it, I'm gonna do the next year, because that was 2021. The next year, my birthday was on the 22nd of the 2nd, 2022. So I was like, this feels like a monument. I turned 40 as well, so it was like felt like a monumental kind of moment in my life. So I was like, I'm gonna do an album. I'm gonna drop an album then. Then, being the useless doers that I sometimes am, I didn't get everything done. So I was like, you know what? Fuck. What would be cool if I'm actually going to do like a time capsule. I'm going to do a song every month, but I'm going to write nothing beforehand. So every month I start with a new song. So from the 22nd of the 2nd, 2022, we now released the first one, which was Demone, which I'm really proud of. I actually shot the video and directed it myself, wrote it myself, and then go check it out. It's I'm super proud of it. It's like a culty vibe. So that was the first one. And then from that, every month till the 22nd of February this year, on my birthday, I released a track. And every month I started, which was fucking crazy, but it was so rad. It was such a cool experiment, and it was such a cool, like, every month I can see my year. So the first one was the Moone, which I wrote at that retreat. Then the second one, this is now Alles is Pille, which is like, don't worry, everything's still cool. And then the next month was like puff, 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 because then I was like partying for a month. So it's like it really shows
the
my
evolution.
my whole year, and I can go back and I can see exactly the mental space, because usually we take off a month and you just write a fucking album, and I think I would never do it like that again, because I really feel that this is the best work I've done, and it's really getting like such good fucking feedback. I'm so happy, but because it's so real, sometimes you'd be like, okay, I need to write 13 songs, okay, or 11 songs for this album. Then you'd be like, cool, you've written 8 songs. Then you'd almost like fucking just force 3 songs out so you can put out an album, and that's sad. So we have like in something called album songs, which would never be a single, and you kind of just, it will always be on the album, just there if someone buys it, but it won't be like, you won't put it in your set or anything. But this album, every fucking song I'm proud of. Every song is a single on its own. I want to make a music video for every fucking song, which never happens. And I want to put every single song in my set, which is fucking amazing. And I see this at shows. People are screaming, like, because they're obviously between songs, scream for what song they want next. And they're screaming all the fucking names of the new songs, which is for me, like,
because usually people want to listen to the old stuff a lot of the time,
they
like
want to
the originals. Yeah.
Or if an album comes out, maybe there's 4 like strong fucking singles that that everyone just fucking pumps, and they always ask for those songs. But now it's becoming so difficult to put my set together.
There's too many to choose from.
Yeah, there's too, so because now I've got I still want to do all the hits, obviously. I still want to do all the old stuff because people want that.
Yeah.
But so my set's becoming fucking ridiculous. Like, it's supposed to be 45 minutes, but now I'm already playing like 1.5 hours, like to 2 hour fucking set sometimes. Yeah, so it's which is fun, but it's fucking, and as I told you, I'm like balls to the wall 100%. So it's like, that's why also Weekend realized I have to put like at some point I'm going to have to put together more chilled out versions of, of
like imagine you do like a picnic concert where everyone comes and like chills and like sits there. You're doing like playing the banjo or something.
Exactly. I have to learn a fucking guitar soon as well.
This is going to be a sit down concert today, guys. But anyway, I mean, where can people find your stuff? I'm sure you're on like Spotify, everything.
Yeah,
tell
Spotify.
People where,
I'm on everything, like Instagram obviously is one of my main platforms, and Facebook, even Twitter, whatever, everywhere. Still, I haven't got into the TikTok thing enough. I'm like fucking, like I'm already, it takes so much of my time.
There's too many freaking platforms.
Yeah, and it's
so
also
many.
like making music, creating content, making sure everything's posted and still having a life is like all of those fucking things, you know, it's a lot. So it's just about kind of shifting focus on the things that I feel is the strongest at the moment. But check me out, Jack Parow, obviously with 1 R. People that don't come from Cape Town a lot of times write it with 2 R's.
Yeah, I was typing it with 2 R's.
Is it? No, it's a 1 R like the town.
Yeah.
And I think with Jack Sparrow, Sparrows with 2 R's, and Parow, but it's like the town Parow. And then there's a new music video, 2 fucking rad new music videos out. Demone and Meisies and Partytjies. And then I just came back from Spain where we shot, or London, Spain and Netherlands, where we shot a music video for Pila, which is coming out soon. We're editing it now, so check out for it. And just check. Come Joel, come have a party. I'm always playing somewhere. Fucking, hopefully I'm in your town. So kom partytjie saam en dan maak ons kak. Pila.
Amazing, man. Well, thank you so much for coming down today. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, it's pleasure's mine. We do it again.
Awesome. And thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Wide Awake podcast, and I'll check you all very soon. Cheers.
Nice.
Sweet.